42,000 people in Attleboro.
Sure. Okay, I call the committee meeting for city property and claims to order at 6:34. Let's see. I have had some information. I've had a motion in my committee for a month and a half or so with regards to a very generous donation from the Friends of Cape Run Zoo. They have. A few months ago, they decided they would like to appropriate a certain amount of money and buy 15 hexagon tables, 3 light fixtures for evening events, some landscaping and planters, and along with that, they want to create a nice outdoor eating area with asphalt and just really make it quite lovely with some new electrical work. And but when the motion came down, or when the business came down, was assigned to committee, it was a little bit confusing on who was paying for what, how we were going to do it, and we had some concerns, some very reasonable concerns about having a we'd have to bond with the contractor, and there were just some things that Deb Gould was very concerned and anxious about. So she has had, so this came down actually on January 6th, and the intended donation from the Friends included several components, and the portion of the donation that specifically relates to the 15 hexagon tables, the lighting fixtures, and things like that, we're separating out tonight and voting that forward. And the Friends are actually, the light fixtures, the landscape blocks, the planters, all those things, the Friends can actually purchase those items at a better discount than the city can. So they'll be purchasing that and making those donations to us. They can enjoy a prepayment and deposit on those items, so then that brings it down where we can't do the prepayment on that. The second element of the donation by the Friends pertain to the work that would take place on the city property, and the vendors that they recommended are not contracted with the city to do the work there. So after many discussions and consultations with the mayor and Jean Benchmall and Sunny Almeida and staff members Robert Verzone and Lino and Ron Dubuque and just a whole menagerie of people, it was determined that the best course of action for the installation of the asphalt area and the work that would be done would be by the licensed electrician would be completed by the city. So for us to do, also, in the temporary bid they got for laying the asphalt, there were certain components that would need, that Sonny and Bobby Rougeau were a little uncomfortable with on how they were going to do it, because there's a proven way that we lay our asphalt that they were more comfortable with, that we felt better utilizing that, those processes. So there are important distinctions within the procurement to pay for these things, and so fortunately the very generous Friends of Cape Run Park have agreed to donate the $24,000 to pay the city to do the electrical work and maintain the asphalt and things like that. So this is, it has taken a little bit of time, and we've had to do a little bit of work and ask a lot of questions, and Deb Gould is much more comfortable with this process than the way it came down. So tonight, so I have 2 motions that I'll read now, and then we'll go for approval later. But we've split it so that the first motion will be for the tables, the lighting fixtures, and the landscape blocks for the planters. And then the second motion will be for the generous donation of the $24,000.
So just to clarify for myself,
Sure.
and maybe some people at
I'm
home.
sure that
Okay.
my head was moving a lot faster than my mouth.
Actually, we're accepting 2 donations.
Correct.
One, a cash donation.
Yes.
To the city, which is earmarked to do the asphalt work
Correct.
and lighting.
And all the different components that go with
The
that.
other motion is to accept an object such as the tables
Yep.
and planters and whatnot
Yes.
as a solid object rather than cash.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank
Just
you.
that, again, the Friends of the Zoo have been very accommodating in answering any and all questions and being flexible in the manner in which the city is able to take these donations on.
They are a very generous group. And
They are.
without them, things at the park would not be as they are today.
And they've been generous with their time. There's been a lot of phone calls back and forth, and so I think it's a great thing for them to do. I think the city will enjoy it, and the city will be a little more comfortable with the vendors that we utilize through, insurance reasons and things like that. It'll just be better. So,
understand.
I actually gave you the explanation for the two motions before I even read the motions. Now I'll
Okay.
read the motions. Does anyone have any other questions, concerns, anything like that? Okay. So from the docket of January 6, 2015, I entertain a motion in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to approve the request of the mayor to accept the donation of the following items with an estimated value of $17,300 for the zoo's outdoor eating area from the Friends of Cape Run Park Zoo. 15 hexagon tables made from recycled materials, 3 lighting fixtures for evening events, and, landscape blocks for new planters.
Second.
Thank you. So we just covered this again. These are all items that they can buy at a less expensive cost than actually we would be able to. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor? I move for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And then secondly, from the docket of January 6, 2015, I entertain a motion in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to approve the request of the mayor to accept the donation of the installation of asphalt for the outdoor eating area and the final electrical work with an estimated value of $24,000 from the Friends of Cape Run Park Zoo, and to authorize the zoo to expend these funds in accordance with the wishes of the Friends of Cape Run Park Zoo.
Second.
Thank you. I don't think we have to rehash that part either. So I'll move for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. So we'll take that out for a vote later on tonight. Thank you. That concludes my business. I call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:42. So we have 3 minutes to wait. Oh, wait. Who's up next?
I don't know if it's me or
I think it's
Brian.
you, because you were at 6:40, I believe.
Okay.
So you might not have caught it. you know.
All right, no problem. Walter, give me one little second. Oh, sorry.
Okay. 1 second. Coming going.
It is amazing. You say, can you wait a second? Right? No, serious. No matter what. I mean, how many times you heard that?
Wait a second.
Said it millions of times, I think.
I say it 1,000 times a day sometimes.
I'd like to call the Committee for Transportation and Traffic to order at 6:43. Have some business to conclude that we already had a public hearing for, but quite frankly, between canceled meetings, rescheduled meetings, double meetings, and have that reoccur time after time, I lost track of this and never brought it forward after we had the public hearing. So, let me read the motion. I entertain a motion, this is from the docket of November 18, 2014, entertain a motion to adopt the following ordinance. Ordinance relative to stop signs. Be it ordained that Section 10-4.11, isolated stop signs on the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro is hereby amended by inserting the following in alphabetical order. Westbound drivers on Laura Drive at Reed Street.
Second.
Thank you. As I said, just got lost in the shuffle of all the different meetings and snowstorms and stuff that we had, and I thought it had been done. But when Linda looked it up, nope, all we did was have the public hearing and we never went any further. So, yes, Mr.
So
Dunn.
we're not in trouble with a 90-day
No.
period. We're okay to go beyond that.
Yes, matter of fact, if I had brought this out of committee initially, stating as part of my motion that if there were no credible objections at the public hearing, then I could bring it out, I could have brought it out that night for a full council vote. But having not done it that way, that's a way to expedite these things that I've learned over the years. Some motions you can do that with, and other motions it's prohibited, you can't do it. But these kinds of things you can do it with. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:45. Thank you. Excuse me. All right, how did this come down? These are still.
My Irish eyes are smiling today.
Your Irish soda, but it smells amazing.
It tastes even better.
Haven't put it in my mouth yet, but it smells great. Yes. Yeah. 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 All right. Yeah. Thank you. I apologize. No worries, Brian. Somebody I haven't talked to in 6 months. So, can I go up?
Yeah,
You're all set, bro.
Thank you. For the first time, I don't have a pen. No, oh, thanks, I got one. Thank you. Call budget and appropriations to order at 6:47. I have one motion that I held, and I asked Carl Bradshaw to come before, so I'll read the motion, look for a second, and then we'll call Carl up to have some explanation as to why. So, okay? Perfect. From the docket of March 17th, 2015, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $8,000 from account 1124100-5783000, citywide reserve fund for transfer, to account 1543100-577210, Veterans Parades and Memorials, in order to secure extra participants to add to the overall patriotic celebration of the day, and I should add Memorial Day. Second. Thank you. Okay, so because, well, for the type of transfer it is, I asked Carl to come in and have some explanation as to what are we looking for Memorial Day, and the purpose behind the additional transfer. So, Carl Bradshaw, our veterans agent, welcome, and let us know what are you looking for.
Well, thank you for having me here this evening, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm looking for probably 10% of what the city of Boston spent on their St. Patrick's Day parade this last Sunday. No, but it's considerably more than the 10,000 we have been spending. Mm-hmm. We've been doing that as far as kind of you can remember, which is at least 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just like everything else we do here in Attleboro, we're trying to improve upon the Memorial Day parade. I hope you still have fond memories of the 100th anniversary parade. And as part of that process, I cast out a very large net and tried to get as many organizations as possible. Ended up having about 120 different organizations go to the 100th anniversary parade. As part of that process, I asked them to RSVP if they would be available for Memorial Day. As I normally would talk to organizations, I would find out that they're pretty much committed to a community already. So out of the 120, we had about 5 organizations that said they're available for hire, if you will, to come on Memorial Day and improve it. And in this case, it so happens to be 3 bands, a military unit, and 2 floats. I hope you like the city float. Everybody seemed to enjoy being on that. And then the veterans float would be added to it. So the Hills Mills Clown Band, which I think was great for the kids, that would be one of the additions. The Hot Tamale Brass Band, which kind of gave us a New Orleans sound. The Mexico Lindo Mariachi Band, which I believe was put right behind Senator Timmelty. I told him I didn't mean to do that. I didn't touch it. It just kind of ended up working that way. He said he liked the music. So, and then Colonel Bailey's 2nd Mass Regiment, and then the 2 floats. So the additional 8,000 would give us that, and the plan would be to do that every year. So I would be asking for 18,000 instead of 10 for the remainder of the Memorial Day parades. And like I said, we haven't changed that amount, I think, in at least 20 years. So just try and, it's an opportunity and, a consideration for improvement and making things bigger and better like we do with just about everything we can here in the great city of Attleboro.
And that would continue to draw more people to the parade, line the streets.
Yeah, and I think that the children will like these bands a lot more. They're very kind of interactive and fun.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the opportunity isn't that, it doesn't come across that easily because so many are committed to the same community. We benefit from that, likewise, so they keep coming back, which is what we want. So this is just a chance to expand the parade.
Okay. Questions, Mr. Conti?
Carl, no one knows when the first $10,000 was appropriated?
I didn't ask specific, I just asked Conley how long it's been.
Would
She
you
said
try
it's
to
been
find
over
out
20
for me,
years.
please?
Okay, yeah.
Because I think that if we did a inflation calculator on when that first $10,000 was appropriated to 2016, I think we'd see that you've been slowly getting strangled in that fund. When I think of all the people who attend, I've marched in 5 of them as a counselor, and yes, it's weather dependent, but there's a lot of people that turn out for the Memorial Day Parade. And I think that while I have not spoken out in favor of parades in the past, I was not in favor of spending so much money for the birthday party parade, I would support this. And the reason why I would support it is because I think when we do the inflation calculator from when that first started to today, I think you'll find that even with $8,000, you're still behind that original appropriation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can do that, absolutely. I'll get that to you.
Ms. Parika?
Thank you. Carl, I've also enjoyed walking in the parade with Farmers Market. There is a high volume of people. We give out packets of seeds or whatever when we're going through there, and I think that the more people we can get to actually attend will actually stay for the services afterwards, which I think are really the more important part of the parade. So I'd be very much in support of this. I think it would be great to have some different kinds of bands, like the high school bands participate, but it would be great to have some other different kinds of music in there.
Yeah, they're certainly more entertaining.
Yes, I agree.
They're fun bands, if you will.
Who doesn't like a mariachi band? So I highly support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Carl, thanks for coming tonight. I talked to you earlier about this, and it is a great thing for Attleboro when we do something like this for our residents, and we can make it that much better so they get the enjoyment. I've been marching for 16 years ago, and went 16 years, and my wife says, how come you get so excited? I enjoy it, and I enjoy seeing the people out there, and the people. For me, especially not being in business anymore, I see old customers and whatnot, and I get such a kick out of it. So if I get a kick out of it, they must be having a real good time out there. So anything you can do to improve that relationship that we have with the people of Attleboro and keep this city still has that town spirit, I'm all for.
Great.
One thing I can make a comment on the 10,000. I know that at one point the 10,000 was for the two Memorial Day parades when we had them split, South Attleboro, Uptown, and so those funds have been combined into one Memorial Day parade. Was that 5, 6 years ago?
It's actually probably
7,
closer
8 years.
to 8 years
8 years ago,
Yeah.
when we went to one parade, and then so that's where that amount would have come from. But I wanted you to come down and share with us what you're looking for, what you're hoping to do to expand the Memorial Day parade, make it bigger, better for all the residents. And the only thing I'd like to eventually talk to you about is maybe changing the route a little bit. I'd still love to go through the center of town and underneath the arches, but that's me.
Oh, okay,
Right.
yeah.
I just,
He's like, what?
yeah,
The biggest problem with it is getting the big military vehicles underneath the arches.
underneath the arches,
Yeah.
right. I understand.
Car watches out for us old guys, so I understand.
All right. Are there any other questions for Carl? Thank you for coming down, and
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
having me, and have a
Thank
great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll move for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. And that's all I have for this evening. I'll be bringing this forward tonight when we have the full council, and there's 3 motions tonight for the full council from budget. Move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 6:56. He was having a tough time. We spent a month up there. Thank you.
He's in a much better place.
Oh, I know.
I know we hate to see
when
parents go, but
we got called in on Friday night, so I'm picking Mom up at 9, and she's breaking out of the place, and getting her down to, because he was down in Brockton.
Well, it's only, we're only gonna fix it if the city approves the capital improvement.
It's in the capital improvement.
It's paint.
But they use the wood there.
Well, they didn't take the wood out in the front entryway last year. They painted over
I'm still
it.
on the
Get a
credit,
bottle of
right?
scotch and a box of cigars.
I think you have $5 left on your credit.
No, seriously, if you didn't mind that, me giving you money up front, I'm a prepaid credit
You
card.
want to give me money ahead of time. That works for me.
Walter will take you.
Why not?
Are we live? I think we're
So I
live.
had 50, so I said take 50, and then just keep down crediting me.
Betty, you all set? You all set? Okay. Call the municipal council meeting for March 17th, 2015 to order. To those who are of Irish descent in the audience or watching at home or sitting in the council, happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you had an enjoyable day. And we recognize contributions of that nation to our country and around the world. So, happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. In a moment, we will be having a salute to the flag, and then following that, I would ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence, as one of our colleagues, Councilor Brian Kirby's dad, passed away a few days ago. So our condolences to Brian and his family, to his mother, Pauline. Councilor Kirby's father, Donald, worked in the automotive business, throughout his career, retiring as a distributor and salesman of automotive parts in a very long and productive career. He also was somebody who was very interested in flying, had his private pilot's license, and he and his wife, Pauline, enjoyed flying to various parts of New England. And at the same time, he was also a member of the Experimental Aircraft Association. So our condolences, Brian, to you and your family, especially to your mother and your siblings at this time. And the funeral is on Thursday morning. Both the wake and the funeral will be on Thursday
Yes,
morning.
everything at Sacred Heart in North Attleboro.
Okay, so again, our condolences to you. So as we have the salute to the flag, if you just remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Donald Crevy, I'd appreciate it. So let's stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just a reminder to the colleagues and those in attendance, please turn off your cell phones as they do interfere with our broadcast to other parts of the city. I'm going to hold on the approval of the records because those minutes are still in preparation at this time. We'll go into the public hearings at this time. There are two public hearings scheduled for this evening. The first is a continuation of the public hearing relative to the layout and acceptance of runway D. I'll be continuing that to April the 7th. And Ms. Shaka, would you like to read the notice for the other public hearing?
Continued from the meeting of March 3rd, 2015, public hearing relative to the city's capital improvement program for FY 2016 to 2020.
Thank you. This is the third evening in which we've had the public hearing on the capital improvements scheduled. And just last night that we wrapped up the last of the meetings with various department heads. I'm sure that Councilor Conti will have a few more words to say about that shortly. So this time, is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the capital improvements program? Anyone to speak in favor? Councilor Preaker.
I was contacted by an individual who did want to come and speak in favor of a couple of portions of, and actually he's here.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect timing.
It was great. And there
Perfect
is a secondary individual that I actually had two, but I knew that he was coming. And here he is as well.
Okay.
Perfect
What,
timing.
for those of you who just walked in, we are, right now, we're looking at the public hearing relative to the capital improvements program. So at this time, this is our third night on which we've had this. And at this time, I'm asking for those who are in favor of it, to come forward and speak. And then, after we have those in favor, then we'll do those who are in opposition, and then those who are neither for nor against, but have information they think that would be of interest to the council in hearing as we deliberate on these particular matters. What I would ask is when you come to the podium, that you give us your name and address for the record, and any comments you make you direct at the council as a collective body rather than any one individual councilor. So this time, is there anyone here to speak in favor of the capital improvements program? Okay, if you come to the podium, please. Thank you for coming in. Good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for opening this up. My name is Kurt Wheaton. I live at 9 Monroe Street. And I'm here to speak about one particular part of the capital improvement plan. I have 3 boys, 2 of which are currently at Willard Elementary School. One has already been there and gone on to Brennan. And I wanted to speak to the piece of it, which was the air conditioning for the media center. That school is brutally hot in the fall when school starts and at the end of the year, especially a year like this where we're going late into the year. It's going to be very, very hot in there. I was talking to Principal Kate, and he was telling me that on average, the inside temperature is about 8 to 10 degrees higher than the outside temperature because the way the school sits up on a hill and the way the windows face the sun, the greenhouse effect. There's no place in that school, and no learning areas that are air conditioned. The administration area and the teacher's lounge, I understand, is air conditioning, but nowhere where the students actually learn. And as you can imagine that, when it's that hot, when it's 90, 95 degrees in the building, the kids aren't doing much learning. It's difficult for the teachers to teach. And there's stories of kids getting sick, physically ill, because it's so hot. Children can't regulate their body temperatures like adults can. It's very, very difficult for them to learn in that environment. So the proposal is for air conditioning for the media center or the library, which, as I understand it, makes the most sense in that school because you can still go to the library and learn. If they were to air condition the gym or the cafeteria with the acoustics, it wouldn't be conducive to learning. But the media center, it makes a perfect sense to have that as a respite area where kids can go, they can cool off and still learn. Also, as I understand it, the technology that they do have in that room doesn't function well in the heat. So there's no point in upgrading or adding to the technology at this point because it's just not going to work in that kind of heat. So if we do air condition it, it'll give us an opportunity to upgrade the technology, which would be fantastic. So that's really, I guess all I get to say is that it's definitely needed. I've been in that school in the hot weather, and I can't imagine how the kids are learning, and I give the teachers all the credit in the world for doing their best to try, but we need to help them and support them by giving them the air conditioning. So I definitely urge you to recommend that. Okay, thank you.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who to speak in favor of the capital improvements program? Good evening. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Steve Sassioni, 76 Benefit Street. I'm speaking in regards to the windows and the hardware at Brennan Middle School. One thing, very dangerous. Today, went to go pick up my son at Abacus. It was 86 degrees in the classroom with the sun beating in, and they had to open up the windows. They had milk crates propping the windows open. I actually got a video on my phone. If you pull the milk crate away, the window slams down, we put an apple there. It would literally slice the apple in half. Can you imagine what that could do if it was a child's finger or a teacher? Just going to prop up the windows. $18,000, I mean, it's a lot of money, but how much it is for safety. You look at egress, not just for students, teachers, public safety. You know, if a firefighter has to get out or a police officer has to get out, they're shooting way to get out. You know, you prop that window open, the last thing you want to do is have it come down on you. You know, breaking glass or whatever, that's not safe either for someone to get out. Now you're looking at being cut. It's just a danger. I mean, you look at the cost-wise, you may be able to accrue that money. If you can open up windows, have them propped open, the cost for that to save on the air conditioning, I don't know how much it costs to run an air conditioning unit for that unit, but if you can look over time, it may not be in the first year, may not be in the second year, but you may be able to accrue that money back over time. And like I said, the aspect, plus workers' comp, what happens if a teacher or a student does get hurt? How much is it gonna cost for a lawsuit? How much is it gonna cost for the teacher to be out, workers' comp? So, you know, $18,000, it sounds a lot, but when it comes to that, it's really not a lot of money, especially for the safety of the kids. I'll be more than happy to show the video, anyone that wants to see it. It's violent. It's really, really violent. It won't hurt a finger, it'll take a finger off. That's how violent it is. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Are there any questions? Councilor Conti?
Yes, if you would find a way of leaving that video with our assistant Linda.
Okay, I can see what about putting it on email, put it on, and then send it that way. I can send an email.
She has email addresses for the councils that she can distribute.
Okay, what I can do is, as long as I get your email address, I can actually do it tonight for you.
Yeah, well, just go in and talk to, ask her before you leave.
No, I mean, I can send it right through my phone.
She can give you the
Okay.
email.
Right, yeah, just talk
Okay.
to, when we finish here, just talk to Linda Alger, our admin person, and
Okay.
she'll give you all the information on how to get it to her.
Yeah, if not, what I can do is, if it doesn't work, I can always download it onto an email, and then onto a computer
exactly.
and do it that way.
So just talk to her, and she'll give you the right address to contact.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for the gentleman?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, if you can see Linda before you leave, that would be great. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the capital improvements program? Anyone else to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone in opposition to the capital improvements program? Anyone in opposition? Is there anyone here neither to speak for nor against the capital improvement program? Anyone to speak neither for or against? Hearing none, Councilor Conti, as I mentioned, this is the third evening that we've had this. Do you see any need to continue this public hearing?
Mr. President, I think that we can close the public hearing and move on. I'm quite pleased with the progress that we've had this year thus far. I do believe that we have given the public adequate time to give consideration to the plan, and I am at rest in closing the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Right, so again, given that this has been the third meeting in which we've had this hearing held open, that we've completed all of the meetings with all the various department heads and the testimony has been presented, I am going to declare that public hearing closed. What happens now, for those of you who are in attendance or watching, this matter is still in the capital improvements committee that Councilor Conti chairs. And at this point, the next step for the council will be Monday night. The council will be meeting to discuss the message and our recommendations and so forth. And then subsequently, that'll be presented for the full council for a vote sometime in April at this point. So anything else you want to add along the line, Councilor Conti?
I would. The Monday night meeting will only last 2 hours, so I would advise councils to please come prepared to the meeting with their input. And thank you, Councilor Thibodeau, for your input already. I do appreciate you putting the time into that. And I hope that we will be able to conclude our discussion on Monday night in 2 hours, and if we can't, we will schedule another meeting going forward.
Very good, thank you. And thank you, Councilor Conti, for all your work at this point. It's, having chaired that committee for 4 years, gone through that, I know how much work is really involved with that, so thank you for your efforts this year, very much, for those attending. So that's it for our public hearings for this evening. We will now be going on to a reading of the mayor's communication.
March 17th, 2015.
Wishful
Wish-
thinking.
thank you.
We're all thinking that.
Wait for the flowers to come. Dear municipal councilors, I am pleased to report that union members have ratified a collective bargaining agreement between the city and the Attleboro Crossing Guards for the period of July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017. I believe that this agreement is in the best interest of the employees and the taxpayers. A copy of the memorandum of agreement between the parties is enclosed. Therefore, I respectfully request your honorable body to transfer $931.77 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account in order to fund this collective bargaining agreement to the following: $915.60 to crossing guards salaries, $16.17 to crossing guards holidays. Upon approval, the available balance in the reserve fund for transfer will be $39,174.48. There are copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services Committee, please.
I am pleased to report that union members have ratified a collective bargaining agreement between the city and the Attleboro Police Association, Massachusetts Coalition of Police Local 32, for the period of July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017. I believe that this agreement is in the best interest of the employees and the taxpayers. A copy of the memorandum of agreement between the parties is enclosed. Therefore, I respectfully request your honorable body to transfer $119,391.34 from undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to police salary in order to fund this collective bargaining agreement. There are copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Planning and Development Director Gary Arasian here and hereby request your honorable body to hold a public hearing on April 7th, 2015, relative to the administration's proposed program year 2015 Community Development Block Grant Entitlement Budget for the CDBG entitlement year, July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. The proposed program year 2015 annual action plan, and to request that the mayor, on behalf of the city of Attleboro, be authorized to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development the proposed CDBG budget and proposed activities to be undertaken during the upcoming CDBG entitlement year. Upon approval, Mr. Arasian will submit the Community Development Block Grant budget to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before May 15th, 2015. There are copies in your packets.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, please. And Council Carney, this matter, as you just heard, calls for public hearing. Would you like to call for a public hearing on Tuesday, April 7th?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Second, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. The
please.
motion, thank you. And the motion is, thank you, Council Kirby. The motion is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. That hearing will be on the 7th. Thank you.
I respectfully submit a communication from Acting Superintendent of Water, Paul Kennedy, regarding the need for funds to make repairs at the pre-treatment facility. The concrete on the stairways is beginning to deteriorate along with exposed rebar and should be repaired before it becomes a safety issue. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $6,744 from Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings account to the Water Enterprise Fund professional services account. There are copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Acting Superintendent of Water, Paul Kennedy, regarding the need for funds to clean and inspect the backwash water holding tanks. The backwash water holding tanks have approximately 18 inches of activated carbon that has settled at the bottom of the tanks and must be removed for inspection purposes. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $20,900 from Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings account to the Water Enterprise Fund professional services account. There are copies in your packets.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Acting Superintendent of Water, Paul Kennedy, regarding the need for funds to replace the variable frequency drives for the ozone booster pumps. The original variable frequency drives, VFD, that operate the ozone booster pumps from 1993 are still in use and need to be replaced. They have failed in the past and have become costly to repair. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $8,996.40 from the Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings account to the Water Enterprise Fund supplies equipment account. There are copies in your packets.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Acting Superintendent of Water, Paul Kennedy, regarding the need for funds to repair the deteriorating concrete and exposed rebar on the lower dam at Orr's Pond. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $9,735 from Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings account to the Water Enterprise Fund professional services account. There are copies in your packet.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Health Agent Alan Perry regarding a Sustainable Materials Recovery Program municipal grant that they have been awarded from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, Mass DEP. The City of Attleboro will receive up to $50,000 from a waste reduction enforcement coordinator. The Health Department would like to hire 2 part-time coordinators at 19 hours per week to work in the city. This grant requires a 25% match or $12,500, which would be prorated over 18 months with 12 months in the FY 2016 solid waste budget, and the remaining 6 months would come out of the FY 2017 solid waste budget. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future amendments by the Health Department. There are copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Bertha M. Young, 6 Nancy Avenue, to fill an unexpired term on the Conservation Commission. Term to expire February 2016. There are copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services Committee, please.
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body we have received the resignation of Robert A. Elliott from the Cultural Council. I know you will join me in thanking Mr. Elliott for his service to the city. There are copies in your packet. I respectfully submit a communication from Legal Secretary Allison Wood regarding surplus items that the Public Works Department would like to declare surplus for trade in or resale value, and hereby respectfully request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. There are copies in your packets. 1 sweeper, 1997 Pelican serial number.
No, you don't have to read the serial numbers. I'll
Okay,
just
in
wait
poor
that.
condition.
Okay.
1 Sander truck, 1979 Ford number 8, in poor condition. 1 Sander truck, 1979 Ford number 7, in poor condition. 1 dump truck, 1994 Ford number 44, in poor condition. 1 Austin Weston, 1962 Grader, in poor condition.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the immediate need to transfer funds to temporarily use a janitorial service at the police station, as we are unable to fill this position with current janitorial staff. The custodian at the police department will be out on medical leave for an extended period of time, and a full-time custodian is essential to support the necessary standards of cleanliness and maintenance. Unlike other municipal buildings within our city, the police department operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Police officers are constantly dealing with various biohazards in several areas of the police station, and these areas need to be cleaned and disinfected. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to transfer $8,269 from police salary full-time to police maintenance of buildings. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, and we'll be taking that up later this evening.
I respectfully submit a communication from Executive Secretary Kathy Ilkowitz regarding the need for funds to pay a required adjustment to Robert Susi Jr., custodian. It has been discovered that the proper paperwork has not been turned in to advance Mr. Susi to the correct step in FY 2014 and FY 2015. Due to this oversight, an adjustment needs to be made to his pay. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to transfer $639.11 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer to the following: $171.60 to mayor prior year salaries, and $467.51 to mayor salaries part-time. Upon approval, the available balance in the reserve fund for transfer account will be $38,535.37. There are copies in your packets.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, please.
Upon further review of City Auditor Deborah Gould, communication number 2 from December 16th, 2014 regarding the donation to Capron Park Zoo needs to be amended. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to authorize the expenditure of the generous donation of $24,000 in accordance with the wishes of the Friends of Capron Park Zoo for the purpose of installation of the asphalt for the outdoor eating area, and final electrical work. Furthermore, the original request for the acceptance of the 15 hexagon tables and landscape block for the planters and 3 lighting fixtures would need to remain. The new estimated value of these elements of the project should be revised to approximately $17,300. There are copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
And is signed sincerely, Kevin J. Dumas, Mayor.
Anyone from other communications?
And the following communications. Recommendation from the Attleboro Planning Board, 5 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absent, in the affirmative to recommend approval of the proposed medical marijuana uses registered marijuana dispensary ordinance.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, please.
I have a communication from the Attleboro Planning Board relative to the distances that would have to be amended if the municipal council is seeking conformity with the federal government's drug-free zones.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, please.
I have a petition from National Grid and Verizon to extend existing pole line 132 feet from pole 3369 to pole 3368 and install a 40-foot pole and anchor with secondary conductors to service 59 Lathrop Drive.
Public Works Committee, please. And Councilor Blair, that matter requires a public hearing. Would you like to call for a public hearing on April 7th?
It'd be fine, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That hearing will be on April 7th. Thank you.
I have an application for a new 2015 Class 2 auto license from State Line Auto Brokers, Inc., 1115 Washington Street, Attleboro, Mass. 6 customer parking spaces and 42 display spaces, and 55 storage spaces at Westminster Street, Plat 3, Lot 66.
Election Committee, please. And Councilor Hagney, since Councilor Churchill is not here, that matter requires a public hearing. Would you like to call for a public hearing on Tuesday, April 7th?
Yes, please.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. The motion's in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. That hearing will also be on the 7th. Thank you.
I have a communication from Jeffrey Caton?
Caton.
Caton? Principal at Willett Elementary School relative to capital improvement media center air conditioning at Willett School.
Capital Improvement and City Development Committee, please.
And finally, I have a communication from Willett School staff relative to the capital improvement plan media center air conditioning at Willett School.
Okay. Capital Improvement and City Development Committee, please.
And that's all I
was
have
all.
this evening.
Good. Thank you very much. This time I'd entertain a motion to go into the Committee of the Whole.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're now in the Committee of the Whole. If there is anyone who has information or an item they'd like to bring to the attention of the Municipal Council, now would be the appropriate time. Just ask you to give us your name and address for the record, and again, direct your comments to the council separately.
My name is Leo Johnson. I live at 45 Phillip Street. I'm the chairman of the Attleboro Recreation Commission. And I just wanted to stop by tonight to thank all of those who attended and supported the Emmett Larkin Memorial fundraiser Saturday night. As you know, Emmett was a recreation commissioner. He was a coach in the city. He's been a mentor to many of our youth. And it's amazing that we have the whole community coming together to support such a great cause. And I think it's equally encouraging and important that our elected officials and city officials support the fundraiser too and support the cause. So I would like to thank Councilor Cook, Frank Cook, for his support and generosity, and also Brian Kirby and Peter Blair and Heather Parika and Shannon Hagney, as well as Mayor Dumas and Senator Timilty and Representative Poirier, Sheriff Hodgson, and former councilors Kate Jackson and Duff White and Jay Delicio, and the many city officials that also attended, Linda Alger and Barry Lacasse and Jack Jacoby, among others. It was a great event. We raised a lot of money that will go to a great cause, and that would be to support disadvantaged children in the city, families that are in crisis and struggling, and also to support the programs at the Recreation Center and to make sure that every child is afforded the opportunity to participate in those programs. Emmett's goal was that no child be left behind, and that is our goal, to make sure that his kindness and generosity lives on. We were also able to honor and present Emmy Awards to the folks that volunteered their time, energy, efforts, and resources to build the concession stand at Attleboro High School. And we were also able to honor Recreation Director Dennis Walsh, and we all know that Dennis really goes above and beyond what is expected of him as Recreation Director. And Dennis was responsible for raising funds to construct the football field, which we needed that first before the concession stand, of course. And he was also a key person in the committee that raised the funds for the concession stand, as well as the weight room and fitness center at the high school. And Dennis has been involved in any number of civic organizations, from the Attleboro Scholarship Committee to, I mean, the list would go on and on. But just Dennis Walsh is the embodiment of Blue Pride and Attleboro Pride. He is the definition, and we were very happy to be able to honor both of those groups. So I just wanted to stop by, say thank you to everybody that attended, and we look forward to another successful fundraiser next year.
Thank you. Leo, thank you for coming in for those kind words. It's rather fitting that you be here this evening on St. Patrick's Day, which to Emmett Larkin, who was a friend to many of us and who worked so tirelessly. It was always the kids and providing sports opportunities, everything of him. I think obviously of the Green of Ireland and his heritage that he was so very proud of. So it's rather interesting you're wearing an Ireland jacket on St. Patrick's Day, talking about Emmett this time. But also I want to thank you and the committee for your efforts. It was a great event the other night, and glad to see that we're going to be continuing it on into another year. So
yeah, well, certainly.
Thank you for taking the time to come down and for your kind words.
Certainly, St. Patrick's Day was one of Emmett's. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. On his 50th birthday, just shortly after his 50th birthday, he motioned me over and he pulled up his sleeve and he went like this, and he had Ireland tattooed on his shoulder.
Really?
So he only waited 50 years to do it, but yeah, he was very proud of his heritage and very, very active in his celebration of St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely, and it was taken too soon from us.
Yes.
Councilor Blair.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
Leo, it goes without saying, and I'd be amiss if I didn't. Without your efforts, this and the Larkin family as a whole, where they come together for this event, it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be as grand as it is. You do a great job. Emmett has got to be looking down. As shy as he was about taking accolades, I had the honor of meeting Emmett probably 6 years ago. We did the East Side picnic and for the families. And to see everybody come together, that's probably one of the highlights of my year, is going to that and trying to participate a little bit. And Leo gets us all participating, believe me. So without any more to do, Leo, because I know you love to stand up there and have something to talk about you. But you are the greatest. You have a great team working with you, and it's one of the best social get-togethers that we have during the year. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for
Well,
what
all
you
things
do.
being equal, I wish we didn't have to do it.
Yes,
But,
I know that.
It's a labor of love at this point, and it's an opportunity to continue Emmett's kindness. And
We all miss him tremendously, his spirit, his laughter, his eagerness for the kids around him. It's a tribute that should live on for a long, long time.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your support and generosity. Thanks again.
Thank you for coming in, Leo. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else here to speak to the council on any matters pertaining to city business? Bring to our attention anything? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to arise.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. We're back to the regular business. I need to call for a 5-minute recess. I have to check on something, and that way, if there's any more of these things that are coming in, we'll try to keep it 2 to 5 minutes, so we'll resume at 7:43. So I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll recess at 7, it's just turned 7:30 now, so 7:30 now, we'll be back at 7:44.
Okay.
Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have a quorum? 1, 2, 3.
You do now.
You do now.
Yep.
Here comes
Right.
and Mike and Shannon.
Right. Call the council meeting back to order at 7:44, or 7:45 now. Thank you. Before we move on to the committee reports, which is next, I just want to make one adjustment on the mayor's communication. I just spoke with the two chairs of those committees. Item number 13, which dealt with a correction in salary, or an adjustment rather, to Mr. Robert Susi. I'm assigning that to Personnel and Human Services Committee instead of the Public Safety and Emergency Management. We thought he was doing that work over the police station, and it just got clarification that it's not.
Because it's
So,
in the building next
it's over
door.
here, it's a building next door. So I'm going to reassign that to the Personnel and Human Services, and I spoke to Councilor Hegney and Councilor Cooper, so that they're both aware of that. So if you're on those committees, just please make note of that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I thought it might have been connected with the emergency measure, but we got clarification on that, so we're all set now. Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll go on with the committee reports. We begin this evening with Councilor Denley, as usual.
Thank you, President Cook. Reporting for the Committee on Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters. We have no business today. However, I'd like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you.
I will also be covering for Mr. Churchill, has an illness in the family, so he's in our hearts and minds, but he just has one motion tonight, and I spoke to Ms. Hegney, and she said that was fine.
Okay, so
He doesn't have anything, so I might as well.
okay.
but-
So at this time, if you'd like to handle that on behalf of Councilor Churchill?
Yes, reporting
fine.
for the
Thank you.
Committee on Licenses tonight from the docket of March 17th, 2015. I move to approve the application for a new 2015-2016 Hackney Carriage Driver's License from Kimberly Gale Spivey at 833 Hillside Avenue, Attleboro, Massachusetts.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
This has gone through Corey, and it should be good to go.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you, President Cook. That is all the business I have for licenses tonight, and I would like to call for a committee meeting on behalf of Mr. Churchill for next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for the Capital Improvement City Development Committee, I have one item to move for the council this evening from the docket of March 17th, 2015. I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $48,000 from the account 6000-359000 wastewater enterprise fund retained earnings to fund 3217 diffused air systems for the nitrogen removal pilot plant post aerator design.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
Yes, Mr. President. As I stated in our committee meeting last week, some councils are very familiar with the effects of insufficient nitrogen removal equipment in this type of process. The result is a stench of rotten eggs that can last for days. And all of us heard, or the ones present heard of Mr. Kennedy's efforts to update the water treatment plant with a nitrogen removal pilot plant, which is his own interior design that has saved the city millions of dollars. And so we felt, the committee felt that the $48,000 was a very small contribution to the operation of the plant as just opposed to what it could have been. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Councilor Blair.
Just a quickie. I know where Mr. Kennedy now is in charge of water and wastewater, we get confused a little bit once in a while. That is wastewater, not water. I didn't want people to
Correct.
think
No,
our
it's
water
definitely
was
wastewater.
stinking. Like rotten egg. Okay.
No need to remove nitrogen from our water.
Okay.
Okay.
He does a great job with that. It saved us a ton of money.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Denley.
Mr. Denley.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Mrs. Parika.
Yes.
Ms. Hegney.
Yes.
President Cook.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
That completes the business of capital improvements the City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Kirby.
Thank you. Reporting for budget and appropriations, all from the docket of March 17th, 2015. I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $68,371.37 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to account the school appropriation Medicaid to fund the municipal sharing agreement.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments?
We talked about this in committee. This is an annual vote that we do to move over. This last year, we had moved it over with a stipulation that it had to go to transportation. That's not the case this year, and so that they can use this for any net school spending eligible funding. So this is for them to use, as per our agreement since 1999.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Hegney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $25,000 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the Veterans Benefit Veterans Aid account.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
Again, this is to move over to Veterans Aid. This will equal the amount that was from last fiscal year, almost to the dollar. It's within $2,000. So we're actually very close to the budgeting amount. Last year, we were moving over about 120,000. So where we're at with our budget right now for Veterans Aid is very accurate, and so I applaud him for that, and understand that when we Veterans Aid, the way we do Veterans Aid, we do recoup 3/4 or 75% of that in a later fiscal year. So it does come back to us. A good portion of it does come back to us. So that's completes my comments.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, we will have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Denley.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. One more. I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $8,000 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer to veterans, parades, and memorials in order to secure extra participants to add to the overall patriotic celebration of the day, and referring to Memorial Day.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments?
We just had Carl Bradshaw, our veterans agent, come down and talk about it. There are five additional units. Yes, I was activities. No, I was looking for the right word and it wasn't coming. Units that are available to enhance our parade and celebration on Memorial Day, and it's always good to try to make that event even more interesting, more exciting, and have more people come out to see the different things that we have, and so I think it's a good thing to expand on that. The parade's budget has not increased over the last 20 years. It did go from 2 parades to 1 parade, but there has been no increase in that. And in order to attract more people and to bring more activities in and units in, you need to be able to pay some of the events that come in. So that concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Hegney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business for budget appropriations. Again, I want to thank you all for the kind words you've shared with me and my family. I have no other business, but I'll call for a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Blair.
Mr. Cook, I'd like to request a 2-minute recess to go over something with Mrs. Hegney, because she's got to read a couple motions.
Okay, I would,
Take less than 2 minutes.
okay.
We haven't suspended the rules, so we.
No, we can't. So I would,
No, we
no,
can.
I can call for recess as well. So, I'm going to entertain a motion for a 2-minute recess.
Second.
Thank you for the reason, motion's in order, for the reason stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion passes. We're in recess at 7:56.
Take
2
less
minutes?
than 2 minutes, don't bother getting. Churchill was taken care of last week.
At 7:56. And I just want to make note that Councilor Blair will be abstaining for the first two items, and that Councilor Hegney will be handling those, and that Mr. Blair, let the record reflect, has left the council chambers. Let's see, hold on just 1 second. Okay. All right.
I'm just going to read the first two.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Public Works from the docket of March 17th, 2015. I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $20,000 from account 6000-578300 wastewater enterprise fund, reserve fund for transfer to account 6000-513000 wastewater enterprise fund overtime relative to overtime funding because of several significant snowstorms.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
It is based on the storms, and there was no foretelling how much snow we got, so we have to pay the overtime. And thank you to the workers. I know we all, at some point, had contacted or worked something with the storm. So thank you to all the workers on behalf of the council.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on this matter, beginning with Councilor Denley.
Mr. Denley.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Mrs. Parika.
Yes.
Ms. Hegney.
Yes.
President Cook.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 abstention.
2
and-
absences.
The motion passes.
From the docket of March 17th, 2015, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $30,000 from account 6100-524003 Water Enterprise Fund Maintenance Wells to account 6100-513000 Water Enterprise Fund overtime relative to overtime funding because of several significant snowstorms.
Second.
The motion's in order. Are there any comments,
And a
please?
friendly amendment and service breaks was omitted.
And that was, okay, so that was after snowstorms?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
The
fine.
second
I will
and the
accept that.
motion was a little quick there. so.
Right, okay. Thank you. The motion is, I will accept that as a friendly
you.
motion, a friendly amendment. And again, it was seconded by Councilor Kirby, so the motion's in order. Are there any comments?
Just as we are aware, I know in some of the wards there were some service breaks, and because of the frozen ground and the service that was provided, we did have a big burst in some areas. So thank you to the councilors who had to deal with any ward issues there. And it says overtime for the storms.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, we will have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Hegney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes,
8 yeas, 1 abstention.
the motion passes. Okay, thank you for handling that, Councilor Hagney.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Blair is now back with us, and he'll be handling the remaining 2 items in the Public Works Committee for this evening.
Thank you, fellow councilors, for my last minute realization that Mr. Churchill wasn't here tonight to handle those two. From the docket of March 7th, 2015, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $3,097 from account 11241-000-584019, citywide retaining wall, to account 11241-000-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer, relative to the repairs to the retaining wall at the Mulaney's Twins parking lot along County Street.
Second.
Thank you, the motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
Other than as you go by, it really looks nice now.
It does.
And, they've done a good job, and it's added storage of our vehicles, some of the DPW vehicles. And of course, we taking over the storage, we take over the heating bill, and we need this money in the heating to account to pay those bills necessary.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns in this matter? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Hagney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
the motion passes.
Thank you. I have no other business this evening for Public Works, but would like to call for a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Thibodeau?
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Transportation and Traffic from the docket of November 18, 2014. I move to adopt the following ordinance. Ordinance relative to stop signs. Be it ordained that Section 10-4.11 isolated stop signs of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro is hereby amended by inserting the following in alphabetical order. Westbound drivers on Laura Drive at Reed Street.
Second.
Thank you, the motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
Yes, as I explained tonight in committee, this fell by the wayside, and I did not follow through and complete it. The only excuse that I think I have is the fact that we had so many canceled meetings and double meetings, and we had so many of them right in a row that I just lost track of this motion. So after we had the public hearing, I didn't do anything further with it. So, my fault.
Thank you for your information and your honesty.
Welcome.
Are there, let's see, are there any other concerns or comments in this matter? Hearing none, this matter does require a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Denley.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
the motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's all the business I have this evening for Transportation and Traffic. I would like to call for a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Cooper?
Thank you. From the docket of March 17, 2015, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $4,904.28 from account citywide reserve fund for transfer to police maintenance of buildings for funding to replace non-functional heating panels at the police station.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
I know we talked about this last week in committee. The heating panels are in the ceiling, they don't work. No panels, no heat. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, sounds that way. Any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Hagney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Blair? Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you. I do have one emergency measure this evening in public safety.
Okay.
I move to adopt from the docket of April 7th, I move to adopt the following emergency preamble, that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the City Charter, Section 2-9B, regarding the emergency which presently exists relative to the request of the mayor to transfer $8,269 from account 121-01000-521010, police salary full-time, to account 121-01000-524011, police maintenance of buildings, to temporarily use a janitorial service at the police station while the police station custodian is out on medical leave due to the time constraints involved in the nature of the emergency makes it necessary to take action without waiting the prescribed time as provided in the city charter.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
No, I'll wait till my comments
Okay.
to the second one.
That'd be good. Are there any other comments relative to the emergency preamble? Hearing none, this matter requires a roll call vote. Just a reminder, this requires also a 2/3 vote for passage. And the vote will begin with Councilor Denley.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Allow on to the motion.
Thank you. From the docket of April 7th, I move to approve as an emergency measure the request of the mayor to transfer $8,269 from police salary full-time to police maintenance of buildings to temporarily use a janitorial service at the police station while the police station custodian is out on medical leave.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is in order. Are there any comments, please?
Yes. We received the memo from the police chief. It's in our packet. I think this really pretty much summed it up. Because of this 24-hour operation, the police department cannot be supported by a part-time or as-needed janitor. A full-time custodian is essential to support the necessary standard of cleanliness and maintenance. That was a snippet from the chief in his memo, but you all have it. You received it in the packet this evening. And it really boils down to keeping the police station clean. They run into a lot of stuff.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns or questions on this matter? Hearing none, we will proceed with a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Hegney.
Ms. Hegney?
Yes.
Mrs. Parika?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Denley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
that's it. That concludes the business for public safety and emergency management this evening, but we'll call for a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Okay.
Also, for zoning and land use, I have no business this evening, but would call for a committee meeting next week for that committee as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Parika.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reporting for city property and claims. I have 3 motions this evening. From the docket of March 17th, 2015, I move in accordance with Section 2-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to declare the following MIS department items as surplus and available for disposition: 35 assorted computers that have been stripped of their electronics, 18 assorted monitors that are not in working condition, 3 HP LaserJet printers not in working condition, 1 HP LaserJet 5 SI poor working condition, and 1 HP Design Jet not in working condition.
Thank you. The motion is in order. Are there any comments?
No, I spoke about, well, yes, I spoke about this at length during our committee meeting last week. Bill Lennox has gone through, these are assorted computer components throughout the entire city, and he's taken every bit of goodness out of all of them, and it's ready to get rid of them. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
From the docket of January 6, 2015, I move in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to approve the request of the mayor to accept the donation of the following items with an estimated value of $17,300 for the zoo's outdoor eating area from the Friends of Cape Run Park Zoo: 15 hexagon tables made from recycled materials, 3 lighting fixtures for evening events, and landscape blocks for the new planters.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is in order. Are there any comments?
Yes, we had a meeting prior to this meeting tonight to discuss this. We've talked about it briefly during committee. The Friends of the Cape Run Park Zoo are extraordinarily generous in helping create a new eating area over at the zoo that everyone will be able to enjoy. And we did, as you'll see with my next motion, we had to split it into 2. And the Friends are actually able to get better pricing on these items than actually the city would. And I just want to say thank you to the Friends for their generosity. I look forward to using it over the summer.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And finally, right?
Yep.
Yes. From the docket of January 6, 2015, I move in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to approve the request of the mayor to accept the donation of installation of asphalt for the outdoor eating area and the final electrical work with an estimated value of $24,000 from the Friends of Cape Run Park Zoo, and to authorize the zoo to expend these funds in accordance with the wishes of the Friends of Cape Run.
Thank you. Councilor Hagney.
Thank you. From the docket of March 17th, 2015. Do you, Mr. President, before I read the motion, are you staying?
I wanted to know, I have to abstain from, I'm just curious, which ones are you going first? Because I know that, that you're abstaining from one, and I'm abstaining from one, correct?
Correct, and
So I wasn't sure which ones.
I gave it to Mr. Kirby at the end, so when I read when he reads the last motion, he's just gonna say no more.
Right, so other than that, you're gonna take them in the order in which they're here?
Whatever works for you, Mr. President.
Oh, that'd be fine. Then in that case, I'm gonna step out.
Okay.
I do have to abstain on the first one. This is the constables, correct? So I have to abstain from that. So I will step out, and I'll be turning the helm over to Councilor Vice President Blair. So if you want to come over here. Okay. And I'll be back.
It'll take
We'll
like
be here.
2 seconds.
What do we got now? Borrow my key from. What do we got here?
Think you're going somewhere, huh?
Who's got that? Ms. Hagney.
Thank you. Motion, I move to confirm the following reappointments to positions and for terms as indicated. Tony Viveras, Constable, Walter Chacoin, Constable, Terrence McCrossin, Constable, all other information, Reading Committee.
Second.
All those, okay. Jump me in here. Motion to confirm the following.
And I, for my comments, I had talked to President Cook about all the motions, and what I'll do is I'll read the name and the appointments, just to read those. Everything else was read in committee,
Okay.
but we thought it best to read the names and the committee that they're going to.
Thank you, Councilman Hagney.
Okay.
This requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Now President Cook can come back and grab the gavel.
Who is it?
It must be a night we're throwing things at each other at the last second.
See if there's any snow outside.
Huh? Yeah, I didn't look, was there? Frank, you check the weather on the way out? How's
Actually, in China, when I was trying to do that, Linda was getting, she was strangled herself in her headphones. Thank you.
From the docket of March 17th, 2015, I move to confirm the following reappointments to positions and terms as indicated. William Hogarth, Board of Assessors; Milton Knox, Board of Fire Commissioners; Bruce Hagerman, Conservation Commission; Donald Ouellette, Sue Bordeaux, Conservation Commission; Terrence Gayton, Joseph Feroce, David Larson, Council on Aging; Merrill Falk, Council on Human Rights; James Azavado. Hablo español un poquito, so we're all good. Diane Keenan, Catherine O'Neill, Ben Puto, Cultural Council; Henry Riley III, Election Commission; Linda Binns, Ellen Stromitsky, Cheryl Nemirovsky; Library Trustees, Richard Renoni, John Jacoby III, Jackie Romanicki, Terry DeSisto, Municipal Building Commission, Deborah Leach, Park Commission, Melinda Kwart, Planning Board, Julie Hall, Planning Board, Catherine Merkel, Personnel Board, James DeLisio, Board of Police Commissioners, Leo Johnson, Lynn Mendez, Board of Recreation Commissioners, James DeLisio, Redevelopment Authority, Christopher Stove, Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Gregory Ilkowitz, Brenda Haskell, Walter Raras, Traffic Study Commission, Martha Conte, Trust Fund Commissioners, Phil Audette, Veterans Grave Officer, Nathaniel O'Connor, Hadley Parika, Roy Nason, Brian Albright, Julie O'Connor, Daniel Hassenfuss, Nicholas Hassenfuss, and Kent Richard, Youth Commission, and Kent Richard, Zoning Board of Appeals Associate.
Second. Thank you. The motion's in order. Are there any comments, please?
Two counselors said in committee that they wanted to disclose this evening, but other than, I'll let them do that. But for my comments, just thank you for all those that do volunteer, and these had been some reappointments that we've gone through. And when we take this vote, I know every counselor sitting here does take, even though they're volunteer positions, every commission, council seriously, because we have to work with them in some capacity. And from the planning board, the zoning board, conservation commission, the decisions that they make are also important decisions. So I just want to say thank you for those, not just the volunteering, but the credentials and what they bring to those commissions. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Council Parika, then Council Thibodeau, and then Council Kirby, and then Council Conde.
Thank you, President Cook. I just needed my daughter Hadley Parika is up for reappointment to the Youth Commission, which will very much...
A couple nights a week, particularly this time of the year. It's crazy. I just want to reach out to all of them who are on this list, the entire list, from the top to the bottom, and say thank you. Because I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. And during that time, it's a huge city with a lot of business, and it couldn't happen without them. And in addition to that, one of them happens to be my wife, Martha Conte, who was on the Trust Commission, and it brings no income into the house. It's not an ethical violation, and I support her efforts on that committee, so I just want to disclose that. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Council Denley.
I just want to disclose also I serve as the Youth Commission mentor with Mrs. Parika, Mr. Thibodeau, and Mr. Kirby, but it will not influence my vote.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone else? I'd just like to echo Council Conte's comments of thanking all these people. The amount of volunteerism, as we heard tonight when Mr. Jones was at the podium, is amazing. And without it, we would not have the city that we have. So, thank you for those comments also. If there are no other comments, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you.
From the docket of March 17th, 2015, I move to confirm the following reappointments to positions and for terms as indicated. Randall Vincent, Laban O'Brien, the alternate inspector of wiring, assistant inspector of wiring, Robert Mangiarati, city solicitor, Carl Bradshaw, director of veteran services, veterans agent, veteran burial. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied tonight. Burial agent, Gary Arazian, director of planning and development, Tara Martin, environmental planner, Scott LaChance, forest warden, Christopher Quinn, health officer, Brian Germain, inspector of gas piping and gas appliances, Joan Higgins, parking clerk, Owen Babo, personnel director.
Second. Thank you. The motion is in order. Are there any comments, please?
These are also very integral positions that Owen had come in previously when we had appointed him to the personnel director. We have to work with these people or persons on a daily basis when we come in. We may have constituent services. Carl Bradshaw, since he's been here too, he's been phenomenal. And I think we all can say something phenomenal about each person on this list. So I hope we just continue to have the services that these people are providing. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any, are there any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
And lastly, for
Okay,
personnel,
before we begin, just let the record show that Councilor Hegney needs to abstain on this matter, and that she has, for the record reflect that she has left the chambers and will not be participating in the discussion or vote. Thank you. Councilor Kirby.
thank you, Mr. President. Also from the docket of March 17th, 2015, I move to confirm the reappointment of Kyle Hegney as lockup keeper for a term of 1 year, term to expire February 2016.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is in order. Are there any comments, please?
I'm only going to make the comment that because it's a financial issue with Mr. Hegney, that's why, Chief Hegney, that's why Ms. Hegney has to abstain.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Hearing none, this matter requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
That concludes the business for Personnel and Human Services this evening. So for Ms. Hegney, I'll call for a committee meeting at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Want to knock on the door and bring her back, please? Oh, there's a constable. Who seconded that?
I'm a quick second, so.
And they all, and a pass, right? They passed?
Yeah.
8-0.
8-0.
Okay. Is Ms. Hegney coming back?
Any other business?
Okay, there is no old business and there's no new business, so that concludes the business for this evening. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're adjourned at 8:25. Thank you very much.
Thank you.